drive to right field. This ball is gone. Gone and into the history books.
The Seattle Mariners, Felix Hernandez, the 2-2. He got it! 34 years, 119 games. It's finally happened. A perfect game by a Seattle Mariner. It was done by the King.
And the 0-1 pitch on the way to Edgar Martinez. Swung on and line down the left field line for a base hit. Here comes Joy. Here is Junior to third base. They're going to wave him in. The throw to the plate will be late. The Mariners are going to play for the American League Championship. I don't believe it. It just continues. My, oh my. And they are going crazy at the Kingdom.
Welcome to the Corner of Edgar and Dave, your Seattle Mariners baseball fan podcast. I'm Jacob, here with my brother Nick. We are here for episode 36, season 3, episode 4, on the evening of April 11th, after the Mariners just took the series in Minnesota, which is kind of a big deal, Nick. I don't know if you knew this, but Minnesota since last year and this year has lost at home fewer than 10 times. They've lost 9 times at home in the last year and this year together. And I think maybe a portion of the year before that, like they're on a hot streak at home. They are just winning a lot at home. Wow. 2 of those 9 losses are now to the 2021 Seattle Mariners. So, special stuff.
Good. We say it every time we're here, but this team's a lot fucking better than people are going to give them credit for.
Yeah, and if they're not good, they're fun as hell to watch. We saw an example of that in today's game with Kyle Lewis going for 2 jacks, Taylor Trammell going for jacks. What did I say? Oh, yeah, Kyle Lewis. No, Kyle Seager going for 2 jacks. Wow, we're already screwed. Okay, cool.
Yep.
2 minutes into the pod, and we've already... 2 minutes in, we've already run the whole thing. Kyle Seager going for 2 big jacks today. Taylor Trammell getting his first 2 career home runs in the series. Jose Marmoleos hitting an absolute bomb, but because of the stupid like lighting there in the outfield, it wasn't a home run, even though it went over the wall.
No, I think they called it a home run. I mean, he went around the bases.
I must be thinking of a different one. He hit a double. He hit one that was set up as a double. Wait, did they review it?
Today?
Yeah, I think it was today. Did they review it and say it was a home run?
I didn't get that far into the game. I thought you were talking about his moonshot in game 1. He hit a fucking Omega jack into
No, he had another one today to like right center field, and it hit off the top of the wall, but it hit off the top of the wall and bounced back into the field of play. And it ended up being
over the yellow line or something.
Yeah, they didn't even have a yellow line out there. Like their rule is like a stupid grading out there. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, target field looks beautiful, but that was BS. That was absolutely BS. That Jose didn't have a home run, but Kyle Seager's home run in the 9th inning today. I mean, we're gonna be talking about it.
Yeah.
Anything else going on for you in our outside of Mariners world this week, Nick?
Yeah. So earlier today, actually, I missed today's game. That was because I went to my buddy's house because some of our other buddies came back in town and we were hanging out at his house so we could hang out like outside on their porch rather than like going inside for COVID and everything. Mm-hmm. And one of my buddies had a bunch of. He just went down to Texas and he came back with a couple of big cowboy hats.
Oh, nice! And some Stetsons, some 10-gallon hats. I don't know. I don't own a cowboy hat, but I really want to buy one.
That's what I was gonna ask. I was gonna say, do you have one? Like, I mean, you live in El Paso.
Before I leave,
that's big hat country.
Before I leave, I will buy a Stetson. They're expensive. You should look them up. Like a nice quality cowboy hat, a Stetson. I'm pretty sure that's the brand. Dude, let me Google it. Stetson, I think. Stetson hats. Yeah.
Oh, they weren't like super nice ones. They were just like, just
oh yeah, no, hats. I wanna buy a nice Stetson cowboy hat, and because every time I'm traveling, like it is the Texas thing to do to like wear a cowboy hat while you're flying, like while you're traveling. I just think that's I used to think it was dorky until I became a Texan, and I'm like, well, that's just what you do. that's just how, like, what do you mean traveling without a cowboy hat? Like, what are we doing? We're Texans
Yeah.
here.
So I brought it up because I wore a cowboy hat for the first time today, and it was pretty fucking comfy.
It's awesome, right?
Felt pretty
They're
good on my
awesome.
head.
Yeah. I want. Maybe that's what I'll do for Christmas. Get some like matching Stetsons. that might be the move. They're not cheap hats. I'll say this: like a nice cowboy hat is not cheap at all.
Also, Mandy got me this really nice hat rack for all my baseball hats.
Okay.
It's not totally filled out yet because I only have like 10 or 11 of the 30 I want to get, right? But it looks really nice in the room.
Nice. Yeah, I'm looking at the hats here. Like $230. There's a $405 all white hat. Have you seen Westworld?
No.
Oh.
But I've
Kinda
been
like-
told to watch it by a lot of people, and I'm just super lazy.
It's good, but the cowboy hat of me thinking is like, it's just like Westerns movies. There's like a very obvious symbolism, like the black hats, the white hats, good guys, bad guys, or whatever.
Yeah.
And he like has to choose. Like it's like so like in your face, slap in the face symbolism. Yes, like one of the main characters has to like choose between a black hat and a white hat when he like enters the Westworld facility.
I haven't seen a lot of Westerns, but I'm assuming the white hats are the good guy hats.
Yes, yeah. The white hats are the good guy hats, and the bad guys wear black hats.
Very
Yeah, these are like
black
the
and white
cheapest.
American.
The cheapest hat you can get on here is like $120.
Ah.
But they're nice looking.
Yeah, I don't think he had a $120 hat, so I was wearing like a goon.
Yeah, they look awesome though. I've come around to cowboy hats. I used to think it was stupid, but I'm now fully on the cowboy hat hype train.
I like the aesthetic, and I think like in westerns and shit, they look really cool. But like, I don't think people really pull them off in modern day. You know,
I don't know. We'll have to
like
see.
maybe if I was like cosplaying or something, but that's not something I do, so it'll never happen. Right?
Yeah. All right, getting into the Mariners. The Mariners this week, they actually it's more than a week. We had opening day. We got to host opening day against the Giants.
Have we not done a regular season podcast yet? I thought we did.
No.
Like, in the first week.
No, this is the first one. We literally our last podcast we did the day before opening day.
Wow.
And
we made it. We're here. We're a week and a half through opening day.
I know. So we'll have our regular, most likely Sunday pods like this to like break down what we saw in the week. It might vary between every 2 weeks to every week, but at least 2 pods a month was what I'm thinking.
Cool. Yeah,
throughout this baseball season, we could shoot for 4 a month, but at least 2 a month I think is fair for us. Kind of depending on how the season goes. I mean, if they're playing like they are now, So they played against the Giants, won that series 2-1, won their first series of the year. Played against the White Sox 1-2, and then played against the Twins in Minneapolis, and just took that series today 2-1. Your Seattle Mariners, after the first week and a half, they're 5-4. Nick, they're playing good baseball.
I wasn't expecting us to be 5-4 at this point, right? I mean, like when you look at their schedule so far, they faced some really good teams. I mean, just in this last 6 days, they've played the White Sox and the Twins, who we both rated in our like top 10.
Yeah.
And we both rated them pretty highly. I think I had the White Sox at like 4 or 5, and you had the Twins at like 4 or 5.
Yeah, and the Giants are good too. Like they played. I will say this: they played 3 playoff contenders. Like it wasn't for the fact that like the Giants are just behind the Padres and the Dodgers. Like it's unfortunately they're in a tough division, right? But like they're hypothetically a team that could be shooting for that final playoff spot. So
maybe
that final wild card spot in the National League. So I mean, to come out of this stretch 5-4, it's got to make you feel confident, especially the way they're getting it done. They've had multiple come from behind victories. They had come from behind victories against the Giants. They had come from behind victory against the Twins, and there's not a lot of quit in this team, right? And I think it helps. What I will say this is it's a very much a cultural thing, right? Because they're starting to like have turned over the team enough that it's a lot of players that even if they're losing in a game, still have something to prove, right?
Yes.
They still have to go up there, and they're not throwing away at bats. You see this all the time. I want to say like 5-6 years ago with these Mariners teams, that if they're down 6-2, guys would just throw away at bats. Like the last 3 innings would be like, this is going to take so much work. Now it's just guys that are out there playing ball, just trying to hit, right? And it's a great culture that, from the team leaders, from the veterans in, Kyle Seager to the new guys, Taylor Trammell, all those kind of guys. Like, there's not quit in this team, which is freaking awesome, honestly.
Yeah, and I mean, the good showcase for that was the game today with that Game 3 rubber match against the Twins, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you saw them down 0-6 again in the sixth inning, and then they tore it up. They got it done.
Yeah, and it was tough, too. It was tough. I definitely want to talk about Chris Flexen a little bit later in this podcast when we kind of break down pitching.
Yeah.
But
he's a good guy to talk about for sure.
Yeah, I think it was tough. It was tough to be down 6-0, but they just kept hitting. Slowly they got a home run here, a single home run here, home run here, until they put themselves. And this is the difference, right, between I think what is going to be the MO of this team versus past teams is that they're going to put themselves in positions. They're not going to necessarily win every game, not going to come back every game. They are going to put themselves in positions, though, to win baseball games. And tonight it worked out. It worked out against the Giants, right? They're going to put themselves in good positions and play all 27 outs, which I think is awesome. It's something that's nice about a young team and kind of something we haven't necessarily seen in Seattle in a little while, right?
No, yeah. I think you're really hitting the nail right on the head. Like, this team just has no quit so far, and it looks like they're all playing with something to prove, a little chip on the shoulder, especially after the whole Mathis thing on the offseason.
Mm-hmm.
And they're really fun to watch. And yeah, and another really great thing about the team so far is that really we haven't looked like we've been outmatched. I was really worried, especially going against the White Sox and the Twins.
Yes, I agree.
That we were just going to look completely like, oh no, like this team isn't what we thought it was. Like, this better not be a sign of things to come.
And like there were games that were rough, right? Like we didn't necessarily hit well on the homestand. Kind of changed a little bit going to Minneapolis. It's always been the bugaboo for the Mariners is that Safeco Field's a hard stadium. T-Mobile Park is a hard stadium to hit in,
especially early in the season when it's still so cold, right?
Yes, that was another thing. I think they talked about it. I can't remember. This was obviously like a week and a half ago. They talked about it on the broadcast that it can be kind of like a shock going from playing nice, beautiful Arizona, Peoria weather. 80 degrees, it's starting to get warm, starting to turn into summer. You come back to Seattle, and it's 55 degrees, and the balls are not going to go. I distinctly remember a few times where we hit a ball, and I want to say even the other team got a crack on the ball, that I'm sitting there, and I'm just like, I just turned to Gabby, and I'm like, you know what? And like,
that's gone.
In 2 months, that's a home run. It just kind of sucks. Just kind of the way it is Seattle in the spring, right?
I had some very similar things. And it's not something that I've really ever paid attention to before, but like I'm watching these guys. It's obviously early in the season, and they're like blowing in their hands, trying to stay super warm. And I'm like, oh shit, you know what? It's like 45 degrees down at the stadium, and they're obviously coming from Peoria, like you just said.
Yeah, and it's been a while since they played.
Hitting environment.
It's been a while since they played in this weather too, because if you think to last year, the season didn't even start until the end of June, right?
Or June, yeah.
June, July, August. So like it was already the middle of summer when they started last year. It's been a while since they've had to play every day in these conditions. So
yes.
I think being on the favorable end of the first 9 games of the year is really good for us. It's exciting.
Well,
right?
It's incredible for us, especially because you look at the series coming up. We got 3 games against Houston, 2 games against the Dodgers, and then and 4 more games against Houston, and then another 3 games against the Dodgers. Like our schedule is so jam-packed full with like
good teams, playoff teams,
good playoff teams, right?
Especially with the Astros, with how well the Astros are playing right now.
Right, we don't have like a good break against like a less than average team until like our next 4 games against Baltimore, and then
4 games against the Red Sox.
4 games against the Red Sox. That's a little arguably because it's still a solid club. And then another only 3 games against Texas, and then it's back to the Dodgers.
But really, like through the rest of April, though, it's all. If we're looking at the rest of April, getting a little ahead of ourselves. Orioles, Astros, Dodgers, Red Sox, Astros. That's the end of April.
That's fucking rough.
Yeah, and then it doesn't get, then we go to the Angels to start May. So it's like,
Especially, you know what I just thought about though too is that like, so when you looked at the ratings for like who's gonna have the hardest April, the Mariners were only at like the 10th or the 11th because people super underrated Houston, right?
Yeah.
But when you look at it now, it's like we have 7 games against Houston in April, and they are on fucking fire. I think they've still only lost 1 game, right?
That's gonna be almost half of our games against the Houston Astros played in 1 month.
Yes, I know. And, like, it's almost one of those things where you hate to play them now because they're playing so well, but playing them in Seattle, where it is colder in a different hitting environment, might actually cool them off, so to speak, and literally, right?
Mm-hmm. All right, we got to get into the meat and potatoes, Nick. We got to start it off as we always do when we really start to break this down. The best things and the worst things that we saw this week. We got to give one for each. I feel like I've got a really good best and worst. I especially kind of love my worst. Do you have anything right off the top of your head that best and worst thing that you saw?
So I finally got a chance to go to a game. I posted a picture on our Twitter. I finally started using that.
Nice. Let's go.
We sat down third base side. Our tickets were super fucking expensive, but it was so fucking worth it. Literally like one of the best games I've ever been to because like there was nobody in front of me, nobody behind us to scream in our ears. Oh, it was it was an absolute blast. And we went to that game where they hit the 7 spot in the 6th inning to come back against the White Sox in like game 3, I believe. And I loved the no quit, like just the team attitude. Because when you looked at that inning, so what I'm saying is that one inning is my thing, right? Or the one good thing I saw, right? But it's just that like everyone got together and really fucking rallied, and it wasn't like 1 home run or 2 home runs. It was just singles and doubles and singles and doubles and just good fucking baseball coming out late from the Mariners.
I'm so jealous that you got to go to a game. I didn't even see that you posted that on there. That's awesome. Do you not know how to upload a photo, though? You uploaded a screenshot.
Yeah, I don't know how. I'm literally an idiot.
Technologically impaired.
Dude, I haven't used Twitter in years. I never post on Facebook. I'm literally like a social media boomer.
Oh, that's hilarious. I love it. Dude, that's awesome. That is definitely getting to see live baseball is a very good best thing that you saw. That's awesome.
Yeah, amazing.
The worst thing? My best thing?
My worst thing?
My best thing?
Yeah, go ahead with your
Okay, my best thing was Taylor Trammell's home run. His first home run of
his career.
Of his career in the major leagues. And that cheese that he had on his face, rounding third, that was the best thing I saw. Like that's a top 10 smile in baseball. Taylor Trammell. I was telling Gabby today. I even said like we were sitting there and what were we looking at? It was like pregame. They were like showing the batting order and they like were highlighted Taylor Trammell because he had his first home run yesterday. And I just turned to Gabby and I was like, that's an 80 grade smile right there.
Yeah.
Like that is a great smile. Like look at that boy. And it just made me think back to the night before. I think I might have like retweeted it or whatever. That cheese and smile as he's rounding third. I cannot wait to see 100 more of those. I think I even like might have retweeted that photo and just been like we're gonna see a lot more of these. Him
that's
just
really
cheesing
funny.
Going around
that's
third
really
base.
Funny that you bring that up, and that is a really good like best thing you saw moment. But I want to also talk about Braden Bishop's drag bunt. So
that's a good.
You said you didn't see it, but after Braden Bishop got that drag bunt, he's sitting on first, and then he steals second, I believe, and he's on base, looking like he just hit a fucking grand slam. It's all smiles all the time. Braden Bishop's just so happy to be playing on the Mariners again.
I was gonna say he tried to put one down today. It didn't count against him because he moved the runner over. He tried to put one down today. And it was looking pretty good. That was a heat check for sure. I don't know if he was like told to bunt or whatever. I mean, here's the thing: if he's gonna have to hit right because he's not gonna get away with bunting every time.
No.
But his bunts look nice, and even his bunt today was like a perfect sack bunt. So I don't know if that call was on or whatever. But that was kind of a heat check, I think, because if he had pushed that down the line, maybe like 2 more feet, he would have been safe at first. The bunt he went for today. He would have had another bunt single. So,
dude, I low key like you're talking about Taylor Trammell, but I like low key like really am rooting for Braden Bishop with all I can, just because I want him. I really 180'd on him, and I really want him to succeed with all my might.
Dude, Gabby is too. Gabby loves Braden Bishop. I'll say this right now: best batting average on the team.
That's true. He's hitting 1,000, I believe.
He's currently hitting 1,000. Can't do any better than that. I don't know what to say.
He's literally the hottest hitter in all of baseball.
Can't do any better than 1,000. Can't do any better than 1,000. I don't know what to say.
Literally hitting better than the god baseball player himself, your main Mercedes.
All right. Worst thing you saw.
I don't know. I probably
No worst thing this week.
no. I'll get one here. Probably the game 1 loss against the White Sox, where they just never got the bats going.
Yeah, they got bodied. What was it? Was that like 6-0? Yeah, 6-0.
0-6, or maybe even the game 2 loss where it was 4-10. No, I think the first one was a little more demoralizing, just because like they just couldn't get anything going against Rodon.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't have that as the worst thing I saw this week. But that game, I literally turned it on. It was the same night as the NCAA championship.
Yeah.
And Gonzaga,
Sure
my boys. I'm really happy. I love this. I'm sitting here wearing my new Final Four shirt, my new Final Four Gonzaga shirt. Just came in the mail yesterday that I ordered from Fanatics. No free ads. But it was right after they just got bodied in the national championship game. I turned the game on and flip it over, and my boss was over visiting, watching the championship game with us. He's also a White Sox fan. And like literally, as soon as we flip the game over, I turn the championship game off. After the clock hits 0-0-0, I flip it over, and like White Sox almost like immediately score. And I was just like, dude, I want to die.
Yeah, that was fucking.
And I don't usually like joke flippantly about like death and stuff like that. But I was literally sitting there just like, I feel so sick right now. I'm just like waiting, just like take me now, I guess. Just release me from this pain.
Yeah, now that I think about it more, that is definitely my like worst thing I saw this week, because that on top of the Gonzaga thing, who obviously we're rooting for, it's just like, so they were constantly throwing the scores out through that whole night, and then like
during the game,
they show the final score. They show the final score, and then like literally 10 seconds later, Jose Abreu hits that grand slam, and it's just like,
yeah, it's just like, it's a rough day. Rough day to be a Washington sports fan. Rough day. Yeah. Although I will say, this is another honorary mention for best thing I saw. Marco getting pumped when they were showing the Zags scores, and they showed that the Zags won.
Yes.
Against UCLA in the semifinal game on like, that was wasn't that on it was Saturday night, during the Saturday night game against the Giants. Marco in the stands getting pumped for the Zags and trying to start Zags chants and stuff like that was freaking awesome. That was an honorary mention.
That was a very hype moment.
Honorary mention. Worst thing I saw this week, it was the ice cold take from the Corner of Edgar and Dave podcast Twitter, where they tweeted out after the first game, being like, well, at least Marco, what did this person tweet out? I appreciate Marco getting his one bad start of the season out of the way on day one.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
Ice cold, aged like milk, because then Marco immediately proceeded to go into his next start and struggle again. So worst thing I saw this week is whoever the loser is. Not Marco. I mean, Marco's never the worst thing that anyone could see. But it was the loser who's over running the Corner of the Edgar and Dave podcast Twitter page, who like totally threw Marco under the bus and was like, well, there's his one bad start for the season. That loser.
I mean, we don't have a really slot to talk about it later, and this brings it up pretty organically into our podcast, right? But like, Marco just looked really, really like, I don't want to say bad, but he just looked like he wasn't in command of his pitches outing.
I mean, we're going to have MVPs of the week later on that we always award.
Yes.
Marco definitely gets an LVP. He definitely gets an LVP. Currently sitting here with his 10 ERA, with an ERA plus of 41. He has an ERA plus below 50 right now. Dude, oh, God.
He is just, like, it's not consistent, And it's really just like a bunch of good hitters really making him pay for his mistakes. But like you just watch him pitch right now, and it's like, fuck, that was a hanging curveball, or god damn, he really didn't get that changeup down. Or like, man, why is he leaving that cutter in the middle of the zone like that?
Yeah, he's just not sharp right now.
No, not at all.
Which is, I mean, hey, it is what it is. You know?
It is what it is.
We saw
so much good Marco last
year.
Yeah,
this is not.
He's going to be back to it.
This is not the story of Marco Gonzalez yet, right? And luckily, obviously, we're never punished in his first game, with that rally, that sixth inning rally against the Giants, and then obviously he got fifth inning, yeah, that's it. So never punished. Anyways, yeah, so I'm not worried about Marco yet, but he doesn't look good. He's not sharp, right? He's just not sharp.
Yeah, no, I'm sure he'll get back into it. Did you want to talk about any of the pitching stuff, or do you want to go into hitting stuff first?
No, we'll finish up before we do our evaluations. Let's finish up on some roster stuff. The Mariners, as the Mariners do, got a little bit by the injury bug this week. just a little nibble. The first casualty, big James Paxton.
Yep.
Oh god. Oh god. Is he out for the season yet?
It's not official, but it's not good. And what can you even hope for here, right? Like, they don't take him out for Tommy John surgery. He hurts himself again halfway through the season, and then they say, "Yep, Tommy John surgery time."
I don't want to say. I definitely didn't jinx this. I just want to put this right up front. I did not jinx this. I believe I have mentioned in the past, 3 episodes of this season of our podcast, James Paxton is a smidge injury prone. It's not a jinx. I want to be the first one to say here, it is not a jinx. That's not a jinx to say that. However,
no, it's not. I
was kind of right. My faith in, I don't know if it was my lack of faith in James Paxton was rewarded, or I don't even know if rewarded is the right term, but kind of called this one. I hate to see it. It's literally, the saga though has been so depressing. If has there ever been a more depressing saga, at least when normal people get injured, it's injured, out for the season, or Fernando Tatis or whatever, right? Injured, out for 60 days or whatever. Whatever his injury is. James Paxton, it's removed from the game, doesn't seem too bad. Got an MRI, not sure. MRI inconclusive. Second opinion, blah, blah, blah. It's each news story is just escalating how bad this Paxton injury is. I'm pretty sure when we're sitting here talking next week, it's going to be Paxton, out for life. DEA. I don't know what to do here. It's every single time, I don't want to read any more news stories. I don't know if you've noticed, I've turned to you to be hey, have you heard anything about James Paxton? I don't want to read any more stories, because every time I read one, it's worse than the last one. I've stopped reading about James Paxton.
I really didn't even think about it when we talked last, but yeah, no, I don't want to read anything about it either, because every time I read a headline and I'm I'm not reading that article.
Every time I see something, it's worse than the last time. Yeah. I don't know how this is possible. It's not it's not even the news is the same. It's not even James Paxton still pretty hurt. It's no, James Paxton's injury has now been escalated to the umpteenth level of hell. I've quit reading it, because if I look at it again, he's gonna get more injured. I actually think this is a jinx. me reading the articles about Paxton, that is a jinx. I've stopped reading them, so hopefully James Paxton's arm will still be attached to his body by this time next week.
Yeah, it's really bad. I really want the best for him. His spring was so good. He literally was him, and he was literally the pitcher king of spring. And I really wanted him to just translate that into a fucking fantastic season, so that he could get the good contract that he deserves. Mm-hmm. And then this happened, and next year he's gonna be 34, and you know what happens after that? He turns 35.
And then his baseball career's over.
Yeah, his baseball career's over.
I don't know. I feel bad for him. Pitcher. I did see someone suggest, I can't remember if it was on Reddit or Twitter, kind of offer him a new contract right now that's super heavy on the incentives. So like essentially, if you can get him for cheap, you can like lock him in for next year.
Yeah.
And you're kind of gambling on him recovering, but you're not really gambling because you're not losing anything if he's unable to recover. I kind of like this idea. I don't remember exactly where I saw it, but just make it like super incentivized type contract where like he can be making the money he should be making if he meets his benchmarks for innings pitched, all that kind of stuff. But he still gets paid if he can't come back, and it doesn't really hurt the checkbook. I kind of like that idea. I don't know if you've seen anything out there about that.
I don't know if it's totally in the best interest for the Mariners, though, because obviously there's going to be some really good pitchers going into free agency every year, like there always is, right? And I mean, supposedly next year is the big, like, open door for the Mariners to make the playoffs, right?
Well, even if you lock him down, though, maybe you can trade him. Like, a super incentivized, like, a cheap contract with lots of incentives, if you lock him into that, then maybe you can even trade that contract if you land one of your big free agent targets, right?
Right, that's absolutely. They make a good point that I didn't think of. But who would take him? Who do you think would take the big maple after his Tommy John surgery in a contract like that? Like,
I think people would take him. I think people would take him for the same reason that the Mariners would sign the contract. In that, if he isn't able to pitch, if he isn't what he's supposed to be, you barely have to pay him anything. I think tons of teams would take that actually, because like it's a super just make a really team favorable contract. In the sense that, like, James only gets paid if James performs, right?
I don't know. I don't know. The whole thing, it just kind of stresses me out. And thinking about it, it's like, fuck, is this really the future that we have to live in?
Yes, James Paxton injured is the future. What do you mean? It's been the whole time. He's literally Captain Blister out here.
I just want it to be over.
I think you might have forgotten. I think you may have forgotten James Paxton before he left us to go wear the pinstripes.
No, dude,
He was totally literally aware. Captain Blister. He literally just always had blisters on his hands. So he couldn't freaking hold a baseball.
I'm aware. I hate it. Oh no, James, please.
Anyways, there was more injuries. Jake Fraley. Was it a groin thing or a leg thing? Oh, he caught a nice foul ball and was in. Thing. Yeah, hamstring. There you go. He caught a foul ball. Not foul ball. He caught a fly ball. Big out. It was a nice play. Overextended.
Drive.
Yeah, line drive. Yeah. Overextended his hamstring a little bit, and he hit the 10-day DL. And then Evan White, kind of a similar situation. And this was a guy they really missed. Like, all the love in the world to Jose Marmoleos, but not the same defensive talent over there at first base. I think there was one where like JP like threw it past Jose. It was like just a terrible throw, and I was like, looks like JP forgot that Evan White wasn't over at first today.
Yeah, right. JP would have like done a fucking somersault and caught that ball.
But Evan White out for a little bit. I will say this. Here's what I think about. I don't have too much to say about the Jake Fraley injury. It's just like sucks, but is what it is. Just because he had a nice spring and you were kind of excited to see Jake Fraley.
He was also having one hell of like a beginning of the season, so he was only batting like 100, but like his his on base percentage was like 600. Like he had so many walks.
Yeah, that's kind of a similar thing with Taylor Trammell that we'll get to. But what I really respect is like Evan White's. I feel like with Evan White, his little injury or whatever. With most guys, they would just be like, put me on the 10-day, whatever. Evan White is like actively trying to get back. He even said like they thought they were going to have him for today. They obviously didn't have him for today. But like
but they could have if they wanted to.
Yeah, I freaking respect like Evan White, man. He can't hit a baseball, but the dude's a workhorse.
Fuck you. That dude can slam a baseball.
He's already got 2 doubles this year. I mean, when he hits it was the same thing. Okay, it's the same thing he did last year, right? Like when he hits it, it's beautiful.
No, that's actually... So when you were talking about, like, man, if this was July, that'd be a home run, that's exactly what I thought with, like, both of his doubles. I'm like, wow, he absolutely tore the cover off that ball, but then it just fucking drops because we're in Seattle.
Evan White was definitely the victim of April Seattle, for sure. He was a big victim of April Seattle. Yeah. But I'm excited. Evan White will be back. Fraley will be back soon. We got to see Braden Bishop because of that, so it's kind of like, we'll give and take, take. But Paxton, tough.
Mm-hmm.
Tough for Pax. Anyways, as I mentioned, Braden Bishop was brought up to replace Jake Fraley, so we'll see how long that lasts. And then LJ Newsome, who we saw, halfway through last year. Another solid lefty for us out here to replace Paxton.
Yeah, but
those
like,
really the only roster
interestingly
moves.
enough, interestingly enough, I think Margavicius is going to be taking Paxton's place in the rotation, and LJ will be moving to the bullpen.
Which I think I like better.
Yeah.
I think I like.
Me too.
I think I like Margavicius better as a starter.
Yeah, man, he was.
I wonder if there was ever any.
I
I wonder if there was any thought to bring up any of these like younger pitchers, like
Kirby or
Kirby.
Sorry, Gilbert is the one.
Yeah, Logan Gilbert or Kirby or any of these guys, right? I kind of wonder like if there was any thought to do that, but I get bringing LJ up. Like he's obviously major league ready. So I don't think we've seen him yet. Did we see LJ in a game yet?
Yeah, we saw him.
Doesn't look like it. Oh, there he is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. He had two. He's gone two. He went almost 3 innings. Gave up a couple runs and a home run though. Okay. Yeah, I don't remember that.
This is the kind of research you're supposed to do before the episode starts, Jacob.
I'm looking at it right here. I did the research. I pulled it up and I have it available to me. Like I don't know what you want from me.
Okay. All right.
Anyways, those are all the roster moves.
Throw the information my way so I don't look like an idiot.
Just pull up, just literally type it. All you have to do is type in Baseball Reference 2021 Mariners. Boom. There you go. You get all the stats you could want in the world. Anyways, that's the roster moves for this week. Let's do some evaluations. We've kind of talked about it. We've definitely talked around it for a little bit. But we can get right into what we think about. What do you want to start with? What piques your interest most about this Mariners team? The batting, the bullpen, starting pitching, Scott Service, anything? Scott Service got thrown out today. Gabby, oh my gosh, this was like one of those things. We'll do Scott Service first because I don't think there's a lot to say about Scott. I only have one thing to say about Scott Service.
Okay, go ahead.
And it actually has nothing to do with him. It has everything to do with Gabby. We were watching the game today, and he got thrown out because there was some offensive things happening to Ty France that were just unacceptable in today's day and age. And Scott Service got thrown out of a game. And Gabby was like, wait, they could kick the opposing team's manager out of a game? And I was like, what? I was like, you're in 20s. What do you mean? We watched an entire season. I've been watching baseball with you for like 2 or 3 years. What do you mean? You didn't know they could kick players out? Like, I was absolutely shocked. But I will say this. Credit to Scott Service. He gets tossed from that game, and his boys go on to win it. There was definitely a little bit there. Like I think this is an overrated thing, something that people kind of overrate what's the word for it? Overvalue or like overstate the importance of. But I actually think today that Scott got the boys fired up by defending Ty France. So
good. I'm glad to see that.
He got chucked from today's game. But they go on to win that one, so if he could just get thrown out of every game, we'd be 162-0. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh, we would.
That's just stats right there. That's called extrapolating.
So this is like more of like a big team evaluation thing, but our run differential is not good.
No, our losses have been bad, right? We're gonna be hit by. Here's the thing.
We're getting absolutely torched.
We're gonna get schlacked just like we do every single year. Like this is just the Mariners. Here's the thing. There's this thing out here called, what is it? The Pythagoras or whatever like that. Your calculated wins based on runs scored. It's essentially that kind of stat. The Mariners are bad at it every single year because when the Mariners play baseball, when they lose by a lot. When they win, they win by 1 or 2. So in general, this Pythagoras statistical framework, whatever it's called,
never going to be in the Mariners.
It's never in the Mariners' favor. They always think that we're getting lucky. You know what? They don't realize that we live in a perpetual universe where numbers, stats, and all that stuff doesn't exist. We're just the primordial goo, and you every once in a while just see a little Mariners spurt out of it, like a little trident just goes like flying out of it. It doesn't really matter. But yeah, we've got shellacked in our losses, and we've won by like 2 runs in all of our wins. I think our biggest margin of victory is, I want to say, 4 runs in that Wednesday.
That I went to.
Yeah, the Wednesday finale that you were at against the White Sox.
Game. I'll say it again. Great game, man.
Which again was a game they had to come back to win. We have 5 wins. We have 5 wins. 3 of them are already they're not just comebacks. 3 of them are big comebacks. Down by a lot, and we came back to win, right? So, I mean, Pythagoras, Pythagorean, whatever the stupid thing that the, baseball subreddit loves. Like, baseball subreddit loves talking about stupid crap like that, Pythagorean, for, estimating game framework or whatever. That thing could go shove itself, to a dark place, and the Mariners will just keep out here winning games. That's all I'm going to say.
Man, these Braden Bishop stats are fucking insane. He has an OPS plus of 489. Dude, he's baseball Jesus, brought back from the spleen injury to rise again and lead the Mariners to the playoffs.
Oh.
But anyways, back to the more serious baseball talk. I'm sorry, were we starting with pitchers or hitters? We're so off track.
Oh, we are. Well, I started with Scott Service. I don't have anything else to say about him. I think we can.
You know what?
Oh, do you have something to say?
I really wanted to hear what you had to say about Chris Flexen, because you were like teasing me.
Okay,
with it
let's go to pitching then. Chris Flexen.
So,
I was watching the game today. He got himself into a little bit of trouble, but he got himself out of trouble in the first inning. Thinking of today's game, this is just because this is like fresh in my mind. He obviously had a really good game, his very first game, right?
Yes.
Against it was against the San Francisco Giants. He had a very good game. He won that game.
Do you know if he went 5
He
or
was
6?
fantastic.
He was shut out through 5, I believe.
5 innings, only giving up 4 hits, no runs. I thought he was fantastic. 6 strikeouts. I loved it. I've barely seen any of this guy, and I absolutely loved it. Even in today's struggle, and I would think he got a little bit unlucky. He gave up some tough hits in some tough places. And here's the thing. The Minnesota Twins bats right now are bonkers good. Nelson Cruz is hitting home runs like a 25-year-old. Like 50 a game. I don't even know how we won 2 games because Nelson Cruz hits a home run every other at bat. Byron Buxton is literally baseball Jesus.
Baseball Jesus.
You know who actually Byron Buxton is? He's Frozone. I don't know if you noticed. Byron Buxton looks exactly like Frozone.
I was gonna say he looks like a skinny Barry Bonds.
Yeah, that's another good one too. But he had to face a really tough Twins lineup today, right? And I will say this: this is what I think one of the highest compliments that I can have for a pitcher, especially after he gives up 6 runs and has a tough outing. I like the cut of that lad's jib. I like what I see out of Chris Flexen. Like, even in today's game, which wasn't his best work, and he kind of got beat a little bit, I don't think he was making, bad pitches. I don't think Chris Flexen, he gave up 6 runs today. I don't think he was bad at all. I thought he had a pretty good game. No. I like the cut of Chris Flexen's jib. I want to see him pitch. I like watching him pitch. I think he's a super fun guy to watch pitch. And I'm kind of surprised because this is one guy that I was just memeing on in the first episodes we did this season. I was memeing hard on Chris Flexen. I love Chris Flexen
because you were talking about him in our early episodes, and I'm like, dude, this is a guy you should really just watch pitch because he's actually a lot more impressive than his previous season numbers. And Jerry DiPato went on broadcast the other night, or one of the first nights, I think the first time he was pitching, and was just like, yeah, dude, this guy reinvented himself in Korea, and he's actually a completely different pitcher. He's really good.
Yeah,
and
I've never seen.
I thought he was really good too.
Yeah, I honestly, before his 2 games, I hadn't seen him pitch. But I never seen him pitch before that either. Never saw him in the majors. Obviously, didn't see anything from him in Korea.
Yep.
I don't know, how did people miss on this guy? Yeah. I think he looks fantastic. I think he looks he just looks like a professional baseball player out there just getting the job done. And sometimes, because the game of baseball is really hard and kind of really random, sometimes that doesn't work out. And it didn't today. But he did not pitch a bad game. I don't think he's thrown even a bad inning yet.
Yeah.
I love what I see out of Chris Flexen. I'm honestly shocked. It's one of my biggest surprises that I've seen this far is that I am very high on Chris Flexen, where I'm much less impressed with everyone else that we have who's not named Yusei Kikuchi.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell's going on with the rest of the pitching staff. We got to the JD game a little late. So we didn't get to see the first couple innings. So, dude, funny story about this. So I bought those tickets for that game thinking that was Game 4 against the White Sox. Because so I bought them in the middle of Game 2. And so when I looked online, it said buy tickets for these 2 White Sox games, not realizing that I could still buy tickets for the game I was currently watching.
Okay.
So we woke up the next game, and it's a fucking matinee game. So we wake up, it's 12 o'clock, the game's at 1, and I'm like, oh my god, Mandy, get up, we need to go.
I'm so jealous that you get to watch real Mariners baseball.
Yeah, it was super expensive, but it worth every fucking penny just because of how much of a goddamn treat it was, especially after 2020, right?
Yeah. Anyways, so Justin Dunn, I don't have much to say about him. I thought Justin Dunn was just meh. Like,
oh, yeah, I got totally sidetracked by that. Sorry, I totally agree. Super meh. I mean, he just came in and walked a fuck ton of guys, right?
Yeah, 8 walks.
I think he walked 6. Oh, 8. Even worse than I thought.
I mean, that's just... It's unacceptable, right?
Yeah, you can't do that.
You can't do that. You can't do that. I don't know. I mean, I was just entirely unimpressed. But, again, I'm not going to read too much into it. First game of the season, whatever.
Yeah,
the person I was kind of shocked about, unless you have more to say about Justin, the person I was shocked about was Justice Sheffield. I thought Justice Sheffield looked terrible.
Oh, dude, I actually almost don't... So, when you look at the White Sox series... They're pushing the narrative, and I actually agree with it, that the White Sox have not lost a game against a left-hander in the past 30 games they've pitched, or they've batted against a lefty.
Okay.
So when you look at the guys that pitched against the White Sox, it was Justice Sheffield, Marco Gonzalez, and the Paxton start, and then they brought in Margevicius. So I actually almost don't want to judge any of those guys for those games at all.
Well, is that kind of Scott Service's fault? Like, did he not plan out everything correct? Because
I don't think it's really their fault. But when you look at our starting rotation, we have 4 lefties and 2 righties.
Yeah,
and
but
so what I was actually going to say,
Scott Service knew that we were here's the thing: Scott Service knew we were facing the White Sox.
Okay, but what
he could have scheduled Yusei and Chris Flexen to play those games hypothetically.
No, he can't, because when you look at the schedule of the game, you still need to space out those 2 righties in our rotation, because you can't have righty lefty. Otherwise, these guys are gonna really set in oh, we're facing lefties again today. Good thing we've had 2 days or 3 days in a row to get our bats down against lefties, right? Normally
you say that, but we threw out 3 lefty. You say that, but we threw out 3 left-handed pitchers against the White Sox, right?
I just think it's the problem with the rotation in general and not really filling the gap of needing right-handed pitchers. And I think it's more of the upper guy's problem rather than Scott Service's thing.
Who are your... Oh, wait, I was about to ask who your 5 pitchers are in your show dynasty, but oh my god. Did we not talk about this? Honorary worst thing I saw this week, I went to go download the show 21 yesterday, and I even talked to you about this already, but this just needs to be put out there. It's not available yet. It's not going to be out till the 20th.
Yeah, it's not out. It's not
Literally,
out. No.
San Diego studio should be ashamed by the fact that they do not have MLB The Show out on opening day. I went to go get it, and I don't have anything more to say about it, but it just sucks.
Not sponsored, but if you get the digital deluxe edition, you get the game 4 days early, and you get it on the 16th, like I will.
I already bought the regular $60 one.
That's a shame, dude. You're not a real show fan.
Oh, ouch. Anyways, that was honorary worst thing I saw this week. That's BS that I cannot play the show 21.
Yeah, so who do we hit on the rotation? We talked about Marco earlier. We hit Sheffield. We hit James Paxton.
I want to revisit. To me, Justin Dunn was just he just was himself. He just I think that's where Justin Dunn is right now.
Yeah,
you talked about how the White Sox are hitting lefties really well. The difference between from what I saw, and this is a problem that Marco's having right now, Justice Sheffield's pitch selection and his ability to hit spots was rotten. And it could just be this to start the season, but it looked so bad. I don't think Justice hit his spot once in his start.
Yeah,
that might be a bold statement. That might be a bold statement to make, but I don't think it was the White Sox hit lefties really well. I think it was Justice Sheffield could not make a pitch the entire game.
I'm definitely willing to agree with you, and I think it is probably a combination of both, especially with the results that they had. But like it's exactly the same thing for Marco, like you said. And this is something I didn't really do before. I normally when I watch a batter, or when I'm watching baseball, I watch the batter, see like so I really like to see them like explode on a ball, and I watch the pitcher. But lately, I've been watching like the catcher and the glove, and you're absolutely damn well hit it just the nail on the head. Justice Sheffield can't hit that fucking glove with any of his pitches.
Yeah, he just missed. He missed on every pitch. I mean, I don't think the pitch selection was great, and that's Service's fault. That's the catcher's fault. That's also Justice's fault. He can call off if he knows that they're calling bad pitches or pitches that he's not ready to throw yet. Again, this is the first game of the season. If you only want to throw 2 pitches, I realize that you're this cool Major League Baseball player with experience now, but you're still only going into your second full season. If you only want to use 2 pitches and like you just can try and scrounge through 4 or 5 reasonable innings with 2 pitches, it's the beginning of the season. Just throw your 2 pitches that you're ready to throw.
Rodon. Literally, Rodon throw like 90% fastballs, and he went shutout for 6, right?
Yeah, it's the beginning of the season. That's fine. Like, I understand that Justice wants to be like, oh, I'm a 5-pitch pitcher or whatever, right? But, like, you don't have to throw all 5 on April 8th.
Yeah,
you know?
That's actually... That's something I didn't think about, but you're totally right. And it is one of those things where the Mariners have been pushing this narrative where they're like, Justice has really been working on his changeup, and the catchers really want to throw him that changeup sign so he can get it done and really be a complete pitcher by the end of the season. But, like... He's 26 or he's 25, right? Like he's got the rest of his career to get that changeup down, but like
he's got the rest of the season, right?
Oh, absolutely. He's a 25-year-old and he throws a damn good fastball and a damn good slider. That's really all you need at the beginning of the season, right?
I agree. And he wasn't very accurate with those, but part of the problem is I kind of think, and I'm not a professional here, just my observation, plus whatever Mike Blauer says, I just latch onto that shit like it's gold. So I don't even know, maybe Blauer said this and I'm just totally repeating what he said right now, but my observation of Justice is that he was trying to do too much, and it made him bad all around, right? So I don't know. I'm the person I'm probably most looking forward to this upcoming week is to see Justice's start. Oh, but to see Justice's start this upcoming week, because I want to see if he's maybe a little bit more focused and reserved.
Lucky for you, I believe he's pitching tomorrow.
Yeah, so, exactly. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how prophetic my opinion is. I don't know. I'm probably wrong. I don't know.
Worst Baltimore lineup. Too.
That's true. I don't know anything about baseball, but that's just my like plain man's observation of Justice Sheffield. I kind of felt like I was onto something and just wanted to get it out there. What about the hitting? Unless you have something more about the pitching.
Nah, man. I mean, I don't really have too much to say about the bullpen or like the bullpen guys specifically, except for Graveman. Graveman looks amazing, and
he looks good.
If he was our just closer all year round, I would be fucking thrilled. I love Kendall Graveman. I am so on the Graveman train. It's unbelievable.
I thought he looked really good. I thought Will Vest looks really good. But right now I'm kind of just like reserving judgment. Like I think we'll revisit the bullpen in like 3 weeks and see. Like after a month, we'll see what we think about the bullpen.
Yeah, another good bullpen shout out here is Mezowicz. Just fantastic lefty so far for us. I mean, that's to be expected based off what we've seen from him from before.
Yeah, we like him, so...
he's looked really good so far.
All right. The bats. The bats have been, similar to the issue they've had with baseballs. They've been hit or miss, and sometimes, like in the Twins series, bats look really good. Sometimes, like in the White Sox series, bats don't look so good. And... I kind of think, it's early season numbers. I don't want to get ahead of everything. There's 2 guys, two and a half guys that like have really stood out to me with the baseball bats. I don't know.
Who's the half a guy?
Well, the half a guy probably is Luis Torrens. He's not half a person, but like I've been impressed by the at-bats that I've seen from Luis Torrens. But really the guys, it's just Mitch Haniger and Ty France.
Oh, yeah, they look fantastic. And it's so
they're 1A, 1B right now. They're so good.
It's so exciting because we had absolutely no idea what we were gonna get from Mitch, right? Like,
Yeah.
I almost feel like Ty France somehow being like almost a rookie, right? He was the guy we were expecting to just have a fantastic season, but Haniger has really commanded that leadoff spot, and he's really taken it and just fucking had a blast.
Yeah, and I don't think Mitch Haniger is a typical leadoff hitter. Kind of reminds me actually a lot of George Springer,
Yes.
type of leadoff hitter. And I actually think
you just stole that straight from Mike Lars.
did I?
Yeah.
That's my bad. I'm sorry, Mike. I love you, but
What are
I'm
we doing
just.
on this podcast?
I'm gonna be
Get Mike
honest.
in here.
I'm gonna be honest. This is just coming out of my head. You know what? Like, so, it's not my fault that half my brain is Jacob and half my brain is Mike Flowers. I don't know what to tell you. It's definitely none of it is Dave Sims. I'll be honest with you right now.
Yeah, Dave Sims.
All love out to Dave, but
I love Dave Sims, but like he has some birds flying around and they just knock into sentences.
But I would say Mitch Haniger actually has probably my favorite home run of the season so far. He had his home run against, I want to say it was against the Twins. And I think you even mentioned it to me. Like, his eyes like lit up, and he's got a hanging slider.
Yeah.
And his eyes just got giant, and he hit an absolute piss missile line drive over the left field wall.
Yep.
in Minneapolis. That's probably my favorite home run of the season because it was probably like the first kind of like no doubt like and it was just an absolute missile. It was a launch off of his bat. It was right after who was it? It was like right after like Taylor Trammell had his first home run or
it was it was the inning later, it was later in the inning I believe. But it was great. That's a fantastic home run and a fantastic moment for Mitch because it was really that moment where you're like, wow, Mitch can still destroy a fucking baseball.
It was like Mitch is back.
Yeah.
Mitch is back like he never left. Like Mitch Haniger looks so good. So good.
Like
I love watching Mitch Haniger right now. I love watching Mitch Haniger right now.
Me too, and it's getting me really excited just for Kyle Lewis to come back and
the only home run I think that could contend with it right now, and you haven't seen this one yet, is Kyle Seager's ninth inning home run from today, where it was an absolute bomb. But it was hit so high, like his launch angle on it was so high. It was like a 30. I think I saw it was like a 38-degree launch angle. Like he's almost at like a 45-degree launch angle. Like he's literally just like,
nice.
like he literally launched it. It was hit so hard, but because it was so high, it was not like a guaranteed home run, and it barely got over. I think you saw where Jose Marmoleos is. Oh no, you haven't seen that. I don't think if you've seen that double either yet. But Jose Marmoleos, Kyle Seager hit it to the same spot, but got it like 3 feet further, and so it was actually a home run. But it was just like a towering moonshot of a home run. That's probably second place for me right now is Kyle Seager's ninth inning home run today.
I'm excited for that. I can't wait to watch that. I'm going to watch that game right when we're done potting.
Dude, you're going to love it because it was an angry home run. Like usually Kyle Seager is pretty smiley, right? I think he's playing with a little bit of anger this year. That was an angry home run from Kyle Seager.
So when you were talking about 2.5 players that you would really like so far, I was almost like 3, dude. Like Kyle Seager is playing with a vengeance, and especially and I haven't even seen the game today. But like when I was watching that White Sox series, that game 3 against the White Sox, Kyle Seager went 3 for 4, right?
Yeah,
3 for 4 with a walk. Like he obviously
he's definitely
had a little low.
He's definitely had really good games and really bad games this year. That's why I wasn't going to like include Kyle Seager. I mean, Kyle Seager, I'm getting what I expect out of Kyle Seager, honestly. Like this is kind of typically, I'm happy because he's hitting bigger balls than he normally would, but he's kind of off to an overall slow start. I mean, he didn't have his first home run until today, right? So he's still hitting.
2 of them to make up for it.
Yes, he's still getting hits. He's still, he had prior to his game had 4 RBIs on the season. Like, he doubled that up today, by the way. He doubled up his RBIs for the season.
Sure did.
Like Kyle Seager to me is just getting off to a typical Kyle Seager slow start. Except this is kind of better than his usual slow start, I would say.
Yeah,
so,
no, I would totally agree with you. And
I'm fine with Kyle. I just want to put him up there, right?
One of the things I really wanted to talk about him for was that, like, what you're going to get from Kyle. He's going to hit around 20 to 25 home runs. He's going to bat somewhere between 145 or 245 and like 260. And if you get any more than that, you're fucking thrilled. Because when he comes through on that like around 250 batting average, it's generally when you really need someone to get a hit. Like, his clutch hitting is just better than anybody else on the team, like, I would say by far. Especially with all the young guys they have, right? So he's the veteran on the team, right? And that's why he's batting in the 3-hole. And he's really the guy that can, like, either, like, really finish off that rally like he did with that three-run hit, or get it going like he did in that White Sox game with just his little singles. And I love him. Not overpaid. Good bald alien head.
I think I saw this. I don't know if I saw this on Twitter or Reddit. Again, I should probably like write down my sources so I can like properly cite or whatever. This was an interesting point that someone else brought up that I read. I think it was on Twitter. I'm almost certain that Kyle Seager has a team option after this year for $15 million.
Yep.
Hypothetically, that is a very good price to get Kyle Seager, to get your veteran star for a potentially contending team, right?
Yeah.
And
I agree.
This person brought to my attention through their tweet that the way that you hear the Mariners talk about it, though, on the broadcast, everything like that, they're talking about Kyle Seager like he's in his last year in a Mariners uniform.
I've noticed that as well. They talk about him like he's in his walk year and that he's definitely not coming back, which makes me really upset because I would love it. I would love it. I love the storyline. I want it to happen so bad. I would love it if the Mariners picked up Corey Seager in the offseason and then like had this Corey at short, Kyle at third, like and then like maybe JP Crawford on second, Evan White on first, like infield. Like I love that infield. It's so good. I can't stop thinking about it. And the way they talk about it, it's like it's almost like it's not going to happen, right?
That's kind of what I'm trying to get at, is that like it seems that the party line right now is that the Mariners are like not interested in Kyle Seager, which I kind of think is a mistake.
I hate it so much.
This is definitely something we'll talk about later on down the line. But if the Mariners are truly not interested in Kyle Seager, I think that's bad. I think that's bad.
I think it just means they're
ownership or management of the team, right?
I think that means they're trying to shop him like that. They've been trying to trade him for a while, and they just haven't got the hook, line, sinker trade that they want.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think that sucks because it's like to talk about a guy that you literally have control over. Like you are the only one that you can pick up this team option, right? But to talk about him like this is the last year that this great Mariner. I mean, Kyle Seager, as far as hitters go, he's literally a top 4 Mariner in every single category. I know we talked about this last year. He's like top 4 in hits, top 4 in home runs, top 4 like
top 4
like
in
he's
ribbies.
Yeah, top 4 in ribbies. Like he's not. No one's gonna be like Kyle Seager, the best Mariner of all time. Kyle Seager is probably the most consistent Mariner of all time. He's definitely like if you have a Mount Rushmore of Mariners hitters, I think Kyle Seager has to be on there because he's literally 4th in every single batting category. So to act like you don't care about it, I just am frustrated by the Mariners, the party line, the broadcast to act like, well, it's been nice to have Kyle Seager. Good luck after this year, bud, wherever you land. It's like kind of frustrating, in my opinion.
He's been the player to like really be the rock to stay with the team through this.
Yeah, it's just kind of like disrespectful. Just to me, the way the broadcast has like talked about Kyle Seager so far and like his contract situation, to me, it's just like disrespectful. It's not the way that if I was managing a team, it's not the way I would do it, honestly.
If I was managing, sorry, I got a little stutter there. If I was managing, that's kind of something I would go to the broadcast crew and I'd be like, why the fuck are you pushing this narrative? Like,
well, the reason they're pushing it is because that's what the administration wants, right? And that just sucks that's whoever it is, ownership, Dipoto, whatever, that's their position is that they're moving on from Kyle Seager. To me, it's just like a mistake to make that decision this early, right?
Yeah, it's such a crappy stance, man. I hate it so much, and like I don't know. I just really want this Corey Seager thing to happen.
It might happen for the Dodgers. Who knows?
No
All
way.
right.
You think they're going to go from Justin Turner to Kyle Seager? You want them to go from a 36-year-old Justin Turner to a 34-year-old Kyle Seager next year? That's just not happening.
Mm-hmm. All right. Has there been anyone that's kind of let you down this season so far from a batting stance?
Maybe, I mean, it's kind of picking on the guy, but maybe Sam Haggerty. I mean, we were so hype on him last year. I mean, he only really hit like around 250, but like in those 250 in the 250 that we saw him hit, he looked really good. Like he was torching the ball every time.
Yeah, I mean, he's only got one hit
he,
this season, right?
yes,
In 15
and
at bats.
he just got it.
For me, I'll say this: I'm not worried about Taylor Trammell. I think he's had a lot of good at bats. He is leading the team in strikeouts. It can't be ignored, right? Can't be ignored. Taylor Trammell leading the team in strikeout. He's also up there in walks. So I will say this: I worry in the sense the idea of like leading the team in strikeouts and walks, very reminiscent of one Mr. Daniel Superstar Vogelbach. So I'm not saying that's obviously Taylor Trammell is not Dan Vogelbach. However, it's a very similar stat line to what Mr. Vogelbach was known for.
He's a rookie, and you see Vogelbach do that. He was in his like 4th or 5th career season, right? And so like when you see Taylor Trammell doing this, it's almost like, well, he's a 23-year-old rookie, and it's almost to be expected. Like look at Kyle Lewis or Luis Robert last year. Like they were big strikeout home run guys. Like that's just kind of what young guys do right now.
It's kind of, to me, when it like couples with the walks, it has and this is what we always complain about Vogelbach about, right? Is that he was too patient at the plate. He was always looking for the perfect pitch and not hitting good pitches. I just don't want to see, when I see a guy that's high on walks, high on strikeouts, it makes me think that he's a similar type of player that is looking for the perfect pitch. And I kind of just hope, what I really hope for, and this is why I'm kind of just, this is not a real worry for me, it's just something I've noticed, is that I hope it's just Taylor Trammell trying to overcompensate for being a rookie, and that eventually as he kind of grows into his position as the full-time center fielder, a full-time outfielder, that he kind of just like lets it go and starts going after some of these decent pitches, but not great pitches, right? Because
mistakes. Hit the mistakes.
Yeah, hit mistakes, right? It doesn't have to be a perfect pitch. You're not looking for fastball center. Just hit mistakes, right? Hit the hangers. Hit the, don't let, if you're looking at pitches over the heart of the plate, I think you're making mistakes. And to me, that was the number one thing Vogelbach always did, is he looked at pitches over the heart of the plate. And pitchers always even knew against Vogelbach that you could just throw a fastball center the first pitch of the at-bat because he was never singing. Early in the count because he was never going to swing at it. I really hope that Taylor Trammell is just he's overcompensating on the patient end because he's a rookie, and he'll grow out of it. But if that's his style of play, I don't think that's, to me, swing at good pitches to hit, right? Don't swing at perfect pitches. Swing at good pitches.
Yep.
The only guy that actually concerns me is Dylan Moore.
Really, I was actually going to bring him up as well, because I was thinking something similar. Well, I don't think it's like a big concern, but at this point, like, he doesn't look, his timing looks off. Really.
He just doesn't look like he's like, I don't know if like ready is the right word. He just doesn't look comfortable. He's like, for me, the one guy that just doesn't look like he knows what he wants to do when he's at the plate. And he's got, his hits have been good. Out of his 4 hits, 3 of them have been doubles. So he's still got the power that he developed last year, right? I kind of am worried that maybe there's like hangover from his injury, or kind of like maybe a mental state issue from like the unfinished business of last season. I hope I'm just making this up. I hope I'm just making this up, but he doesn't look good, right? He looks uncomfortable at the plate. It's the only person I'm really concerned about.
You look at his numbers, and I see 12 strikeouts. He's just behind Taylor Trammell.
Yeah, with many less walks, though, right?
Yeah, exactly, right? Like his OPS and slugging is so much lower, right? But like I'm not convinced that we're gonna have a problem with Demo this season.
No.
I'm looking at like the second coming of like a Shed Long thing, where like he just had that good breakout season and then wasn't able to replicate it the next one, right?
Yeah, it's one of those things we'll see with Dylan Moore. It's too early, obviously, but I just like had my eyebrows raised, right? I'm not like actually concerned. It's just my eyebrows raised, like that doesn't look like Dylan Moore to me. So we'll see how it goes. Anyways, let's wrap this thing up. Let's finish it up with our MVPs of the week. Who do you gonna give MVP?
Are we just doing one MVP, or are we doing like batting, defense?
No,
bullpen,
just one
pitching?
MVP for the week. Who's yours?
Kyle Seager.
Kyle Seager, okay.
I really like the rallies. The rally he started in that Game 3 against the White Sox, and then again, obviously, he fucking really hammered home that game today with his 2 home runs.
Yeah, I think it cannot be overstated. It cannot be overstated. I believe this to be true, especially in the sport of baseball. A veteran presence, and you see it. The Mariners have had 3 come from behind victories that Kyle Seager is all a part of. He's a part of all of them, right?
Yeah.
The veteran presence from a guy like Kyle Seager cannot be understated and underrecognized by a team, or else that team is destined to. That's a mistake, right? That's a mistake for your team to undervalue that. The idea that like he's overpaid, right? That we come back to that, the stupid Kevin Mather thing. It's just a mistake. You're not seeing Kyle Seager's true value. And realistically, his value is there in the stats, right? His value is there in the stats. But there's so much more. There's the intangibles. Like, he is the team leader, right? He is the heart of this lineup now. So I think that's a good MVP. My MVP is a guy that we kind of just haven't talked about too much, Ty France. I mean, he's just so good right now. Like,
oh yeah, no, he's a really good MVP. He's someone I actually immediately thought of, and I was like, no, I want to give it to Kyle. But like, he's just a guy who's been so consistent that
that's it, right?
He's not doing anything over the top or under the top. You
know?
Yeah,
it's not too flashy. Two doubles, 1 home run, 4 RBIs. It's not like too flashy, but I just don't. I want to recognize Ty France, right? We kind of didn't really talk about him in this podcast, and there's gonna be plenty of episodes. This is a long season, right? There's gonna be plenty of time. We're gonna spend a lot of time talking about Ty France, but it was one I just wanted to throw out there is like Mr. Consistent. That's my MVP. Is so for the kind of the similar reasons that you wanted to give Kyle Seager one, a guy that you can rely on, rally around. I think Ty France is that too, and like I'm so excited for the Mariners' career of Ty France. Just he's amazing. I love him.
Yeah, no, I don't really have anything else to say except for I really want to see more long ball. I love watching home runs, and I really feel like we're like 10 games in now, and we've only seen like 5 home runs from the Mariners altogether.
Yeah, you're gonna get a good taste of. I mean, it helped. Obviously, Minnesota really helped the bats. I think going to Baltimore, I think could do the same. So, like, looking forward to these next few games, going to Baltimore, going to Houston, right?
Yep.
Going to Baltimore.
Kyle Seager's doing very well.
Oh no, it's back. It's not at Houston.
Oh
it's,
yeah, we're back at home.
Back at home.
Yes. Me and Mandy want to get tickets for that Houston game, and I want to fucking boo the shit out of those guys so bad. It's gonna be so much fun.
Awesome. Okay. Anyways, yeah. So like next week we'll talk about the Orioles. We have games against the Orioles coming up. Games against the Astros coming up. We'll see you after those games. Appreciate everyone listening. We've mentioned our Twitter quite a bit, trying to be active on there. Follow us there. Follow the podcast. We never actually do this to be like, hey, you should like rate the podcast or whatever like that. If you have listened this far and you're listening, like, why not? Just like if you listen, okay, if you listen to all of this, our rambling nonsense every single week, like you obviously like it. So just go give the podcast a nice review because
smash that motherfucking like button. Smash the subscribe button. Here's the thing.
Smash the
notification bell.
Yeah, we don't make any like money off this. I don't even really have any intention to ever make any money off this. It's just like a fun thing to do since we're watching the Mariners anyways. But it is nice to like see the downloads and like to kind of get that validation that like this is interesting not only for the two of us but for other people as well. So if you made it this far, feel free to give us a rating, follow us on Twitter, all that kind of stuff. It's the typical call to action BS that we are terrible at doing. I'm going to give it a try right here. As transparent as possible. Anyways, we'll be back next week to talk more about the Mariners. Go M's, everybody.
Yeah, go M's.
There's a drive.